Philippines, Thailand, Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, and even Timor-Leste, or other countries beyond Southeast Asia. Welcome back with me again, Muhammad Reza from Seasia Academy, and we'll be having a Seasia Viewpoint, a special edition with one of the Indonesian youth activists, Vania, who will be joining me shortly after this, and we'll be talking about youth activism in Southeast Asia and beyond. And you can ask any questions, or Fania will be here shortly. She will be joining me very soon. And you can ask her any questions about her experiences, about her dreams, her aspirations, and a lot of things about her ideas, her ideologies, her I think she's got a lot of things to share with us this afternoon, and I think Vania is going. Vania, how are you doing? She will be here very soon. There we go. Hi.
Hi, Carissa.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fine. I'm happy to see you again, virtually. After we were together in Dubai for the
Right.
parties 28 back in December last year, and
Mm.
has been doing really great in the past few months. And guess what?
Thank
He's
you.
one of the global lead of the young people during the conference of the back in December. And since then, she's been joining a lot of programs in Japan. And then she just recently came back from South Korea. So she has definitely a lot of things to share and to say. And, just to inspire all of you, not only Indonesian young people, but also young people in Malaysia, in Singapore, Thailand, the Philippines, and beyond Southeast Asia, because she was in Dubai. She met with students, young people from Canada, from Kenya, from Madagascar, from different parts of the globe. So without further ado, I'm Muhammad Reza with the Asia Academy, and then I'm having Vania Winola in Surabaya. I'm in Jakarta, and I'll let Vania introduce her to you. But I believe all of you have known Vania, and then her stories, her journeys, and a lot more about her. So Vania, please, the time is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, Carissa. It's been a long time since we haven't met, actually. So this is our first time meeting as well. And I just want to say to everyone, hi, I'm Vania Winola. You can call me Vania for short if you're confused with my um, how to call me in real life. And I've been involving in youth activism since I was 15. So I was also considered a youth back then. So yeah, today we're going to talk about a lot of things about youth activism and how to speak up about yourself.
Right. So, and then since you were 15, and how old are you now, if I may know?
I'm 18 now, so it's been 3 years since I've been
3 years.
doing this.
In,
Mm.
in the past 3 years alone, you have done so many things. So, can you tell us more about what you have done in the past 3 years, including the time during the pandemics?
Okay. Thank you very much. So, in the past 3 years, I started off joining UNICEF in 2021.
Mhm.
I was actually graduating middle school, and the reason why wasn't actually just because the youth activism. It's also because I think I need to do something that actually can help the
Yeah.
world. But I realized that one person or one little kid is very hard to actually make a change in the whole wide world. So I need to do something to build up to a level where I can actually influence people. So I started off by joining UNICEF, and it was an organization which helped children in need in my own region in East Java.
Yeah.
And at that time, wow, I realized how children's problems are a lot.
Yeah.
in East Java only. And I
Yeah.
realized how those problems actually can occur in different parts of the world. So I decided in when I was high school, I decided to actually join the ambassador for high school.
Yeah.
And I realized there's a lot of problems in education and also in children's in most schools. So that's why I also decided when we are contacted by Kat Reza at that time, I was so super duper excited that I could be able to join COP28 at the time and actually just help and spread awareness about climate and also about children's to the whole wide world.
Yeah. And what was the most memorable things that you did with UNICEF at the time? And what was the things that you took away from the activities that you did with UNICEF?
So at that time when I was joining UNICEF, I think that I would say the most memorable thing was realizing the problems and talking to others in need because I never realized that someone my age at that time was getting married when they
Wow.
were 15.
Yeah.
And that was a really huge problem or a really huge thing for me because realizing that I was 15, that I could achieve my dreams, that I could get the education that I need.
Yeah.
Well, at that time, the other person couldn't get it and just had to marry it at the time. So I think it wasn't like the world was against him or her at that time. So the memorable part was getting to talk to people in need and helping them to solve their problems, which I wouldn't say solving, but more comforting them
Yeah.
and realizing they're okay. I mean, they have a friend in need, they also have a friend to talk to, and realizing that there are a lot of kind people that can help them.
Yeah. And then right now, since I think you have you just finished your high school, right? Few weeks. And then can you tell us more about your current activities and projects?
Okay. So the current activities right now, I'm of course focusing on
Yeah.
college. I just finished my student orientation, which
Hmm.
pretty took a pretty long time
Yeah.
actually. It took about 10 days. But right now I'm focusing on my business and I'm also focusing on making journals and essays since I'm allowed to do that now and I have a platform to do it. So I think I'm going to make a lot of essays about international changes and also climate change because that's what I've been focusing in the past 3 years.
That's great. That's great. So, in the past 3 years alone, what kind of issues or problems or challenges that you would like to focus in the long run? Like, is it, for example, education? Is it education? Um, did I say education twice? Education, health, climate change, or like youth activism itself. Like, why do you think youth activism is very important?
So the first thing why I think youth activism, since youth activism also like includes children's and also young adults. And I've heard this sentence where people say children always say the truth. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's very important for youth activism since us being like a youth wouldn't be talking or wouldn't be like uh, raising awareness just because of money. We are doing it just because we want to be comfortable living in our cruel world. And that's why I think youth activism is really important. And for myself, I wouldn't be focusing in like the whole I mean, like all of the problems because I also can't just like take all of the SDGs and solve them myself. I am just a person, I'm just a normal person. But if I could actually choose some that I could focus on, I would actually focus on education, women's rights, indigenous people rights, and also children rights. Since
Wow.
it's really important in Indonesia, and I feel like there's still a problem between like gender
Yeah.
and stuff in Indonesia. So I feel like raising awareness about that and hearing from youth saying or talking about those problems and giving solutions is one thing that I would actually focus about.
Those are very, very crucial and very critical issues that
Mm.
you would like to focus on in the long run. But is there any some kind of life changing in the past 3 years, or inspirational moments that you thought it would change your life in the future? Since you've been in Thailand, joining some international, and then in Dubai, in the UAE, in Japan, and then you just recently came back from um, Korea. So, what do you think? Like, can you share with us?
So what I think that actually changed my whole life for my future is actually just being in an event in every single country was actually the most influential part of my life, because knowing that culture is actually diverse in every country and talking about it, I actually know each and every country's problem and their solutions for their problem.
Mhm.
So I could bring it back to Indonesia.
Mhm.
Like, it wouldn't be the same solution, but at least we have something in mind,
Yeah.
something that could actually change people, something that actually can change a problem in Indonesia. So I think the most important thing that I realized was how visiting each country can actually change your mindset and just change yourself in general.
Ah, interesting. I mean, like I'm talking about, experiencing diversity firsthand by yourself, meeting a lot of people from different countries with different backgrounds, social and educational backgrounds. What was one of the most remarkable experiences that you had, meeting these people, like, for example, if when you were introduced to them, to have their own traditional, for example, food or traditional clothes, or you can share with us what was very interesting about these people from different countries that you met.
Oh, sorry. My internet just like stopped for a while. Can you help me to repeat the questions, Kareza?
Yeah, sure. Um, so, since you met a lot of people from different countries and different backgrounds, uh, what was the most unique or the most memorable things that were introduced to you? So, for example, when you were asked to, for example, to taste their traditional food, traditional candies, or when they give you some traditional clothes or souvenirs that you tried on, and then you thought it was quite unique and attractive. But
I would say the most remarkable thing was try tasting different
yeah,
foods. Yeah, because I mean everyone loves food. I
yeah,
mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't love food?
yeah,
And also, I realized that was the most like part that I find different from any other places. Like sometimes, like traditional outfits may look the same.
yeah,
Like probably Indonesian traditional outfit may look the same in like some areas of the or some part of the world, but food, if we're talking about food, every single place have different food. And that's one thing that I am very respected about for every single country, because they're also very proud of their national foods or of their traditional foods.
yeah. And then three was the most. Do you think has the most how to say that, like, diverse cuisines, and the things that you like the most in that country, in terms of food, like with
Oh, like,
is it South Korea or is it
oh
Thailand?
yeah.
Yeah, like which food you like the most?
So I would say, if I'm being honest, like I still say that Indonesian traditional foods are the best just
Yeah,
because of their spices.
yeah,
But like if I need to choose a country that's like number two on my list, it would be South Korea.
Yeah.
because every time I feel like foods from South Korea, they have like a really unique taste of spices. Like it has a different spice from Indonesia, and they have a lot of traditional foods, and that's why I think that I would put South Korea number two just because they have a lot of foods that are like considered traditional foods, and they have different types of taste. So that's why.
Interesting. So, no matter how far and how many countries you've been, you are still in love with Indonesian traditional food. Um,
Yeah.
since we were in the UAE together back in December, is there any, one of the most interesting experiences that you had in terms of food, in terms of places, in terms of people that you met or food that you ate? Like, would you share with us? And then, or, any other experiences and stories that you never shared before?
So what I would share actually was in Dubai. Do you remember? Do you guys remember when we had a vacation in the desert
Yeah.
in Dubai?
Yeah.
It was the first time that I went to the desert, and one thing that I could say, Indonesia is far more hot than the desert itself. I mean Surabaya. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Surabaya, not other places, but like in Surabaya, it's much, much more hot. And I was shocked about it because like I thought deserts would be really, really hot. For me, it's just dry and humid, but like it's not like as hot as Indonesia,
Hmm.
Surabaya in particular. But
Yeah.
then also at that time we were like having fun. We were riding, those ATVs,
Yeah.
like the sand ATVs, and it was really fun. I actually never get to ride that, but that was the first time I decided to drive, other than driving a car itself. So that was really exciting for me.
Yeah.
And remember the night where we had dinner with like
With
in the middle of the desert? Yeah. And then a bird just pooped on my hijab. Do you remember that?
really, was that
Yeah.
after sundown, or
It
was
was
that when
after sundown, and like
Mm,
Audrey and
oh,
Raya was like,
yeah, I remember that
"What's
one. Yeah.
It's like, did you spill some ice cream on your outfit?" I was like, "No, we didn't eat ice cream." And like they would say, "Oh,
That's
there
right.
is white stuff in your outfit," and I'm like, "No, don't say that," because the next morning we needed to go to the airport, and that's what makes me kind of like anxious, like, oh no, I need to change my hijab,
Yeah.
where I already packed all of my hijabs on my luggage. So that was the story that I think I've never shared to anybody, just because I was like kind of embarrassed at that
Yeah.
moment. But since like it's almost a year, so I think it's fine to
So
just
almost.
let everyone know that I was poop peppered at that
Yeah.
time.
I remember that you had to change your headscarf the next day, right? Because
Yeah.
of that. That. But I think I would agree because that's one of the most memorable nights that I had. Assisting people like you, youth activists like you, in the past few years in during the conference of the parties. I think I would say, I mean, like you remember that the first 2 or 3 days I was really really sick, and
Mm.
then I voice, right? And then I was trying to regain my strength, my health, and then and I was trying to enjoy the activities every single day with you. And then you were super busy because you were in different zone, and then you had to attend,
Mm.
had to do these interviews, and then uh, a lot more activities, I would say. And I was just trying so hard to catch up. So, I think, and I believe you had one of the most uh, memorable experiences at the time, right? And then
Mm.
in that blue zone, would you share with us what you felt, what you experienced?
Okay, so in the blue zone, like I would just say to everyone that COP has two zones, that is green zone and the blue zone, and the blue zone is where like convincements have been made, talks have been made, businesses have been made. So that's like the huge point of blue zone. And at the time, before I went to the blue zone, I
Yeah.
was actually kind of anxious. I was kind of scared. I was really nervous since like there are a lot of business people. There are
Yeah.
a lot of government issues, government
Yeah.
people are actually there. So I thought the environment itself is going to be so serious and just, it doesn't feel like lively or doesn't feel homey. That's what I'm very anxious about. But once I go into the blue zone, it was actually very bright. It was actually, people are very welcoming to us. Um, Everyone was really bright at the time.
Yeah.
And we were actually talking about a lot of climate issues and also education issues because they know that we are from the children's zone and there were only 30 children inside the blue zone with like almost 100,000 people entering the blue zone. So that was one thing that I was really like grateful about. Like everyone knowing us as a children and us going to do activism inside there was a very nice experience and a very like warm, heartwarming experience. And inside there, if you are wondering what we are doing, we were
Yeah.
actually talking about children problems and how
Yeah.
to actually finish them and how to actually spread awareness. And for me, I myself, I presentate about how to spread awareness as a children in social media and through online because I also work around social media and work online. So CG Education just gave me the trust to actually talk about it, and I'm very grateful about it. And we were talking in front of the Government of Education, I believe, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Education of UAE building, and that was the biggest, and that was like the most shocking thing because I thought we were going to talk in the children's podium only,
Yeah.
but we were actually talking in the Ministry of Education building, and that's what I'm grateful about. And the experience that I get and actually the people that I can talk to. Like I actually also talked to a lot of ministry from Indonesia. Like there was I believe it was like the Ministry of never mind. I can't remember. But at the time I was talking to him and he couldn't even recognize that I'm from Indonesia and it was so open to me about it. And that's what I would say the most exciting and the most heartwarming part about being in the blue zone.
Yeah. So, and then, having a lot of activities and experiences during that event and that conference, what has changed um, you in the past? Um, I think 8 months, 9 months now, I guess. Uh, Entering 9 months, right? It feels like yesterday, but it was only 9 months
Mm.
ago. But like, what has changed a lot, or how it has changed you in different aspects?
So I would say what changed me is, first of all, the people actually changed me. Like, I realized how people can change my mind, how strong, how bright people, how brave people can actually change how I feel and change how the world moves in different perspective. And what changed in myself is, I would say, how I think and my mindset, because learning people's ideas, learning people's perspective actually changed the way how I think about the world and changed the way how I think in every single problems. Like for example, it's just a simple problem. Like if I was like introduced to a new problem, it's just a simple problem, probably like, oh, a friend just talked about you. I could see in different perspective. Back then, I would say, oh, does she hate me, or oh, does
Right.
she talked about me because of some problems? But
Yeah.
now I would say if like a simple problem occur, like someone talked about me, I would think about like, oh, maybe they don't like me because of this perspective or about this perspective, or just because of this perspective, do I need to talk about it? I could think critically that way. And I just want to thank to everyone that's involved in the blue zone, that's involved in COP28, that's involved in my life in the past 3 years about youth activism, that can change my mindset and that can change the way that I think and that can change my perspective in every single problem of the world.
that sounds really really heartwarming, really indeed. Um, so from a lot of programs that you joined in the past, like the one you joined in Thailand, in Japan, and South Korea, and in the UAE, of course. Which one do you think was the least memorable or the least important, or do you think everything or every single concept you joined in the past really shaped who you have become today, or do you think some of the programs do not contribute to your personal growth?
So I would say what I can say is every single story in my life actually changed me in different perspective.
Mhm.
Regardless what I like and what I dislike, I think every single thing that happened to my life can change
Yeah.
the way I think and can change me as a person. So maybe I maybe I don't like an event that I attend and I won't say the name, but I would say even though I don't like it, I realize that it changed me. Like if I it's for example, I don't like a food
Mhm.
and before I even taste that food, if I say I don't like it, I can't know the reason why I don't like it. So I
Yeah.
think that every single part or every single story of my life has a meaning and has something that I could take out of it.
Right. Interesting. So that's very positive mindset that you've got, and I believe having that kind of opportunities and experiences, joining these different programs and activities in other countries, meeting different people from different backgrounds, different cultures, it shapes who you really are today. Uh, Different that um, I would say maturity, in the sense
Yeah, true, true.
like open your mind and then accept the differences that you see on the ground in the field. Oh, and like, oh, this person is different from me, but something from her. Oh, this guy thinks differently from me, but I think he's got a good point to say that I can probably learn from or think about. And, I believe this kind of perspective that you've got right now will shape you in the long run. So, talking about, since you mentioned about being in college earlier, so tell me more about your college, like what you are studying at the moment, and what you expect to become in the future.
Okay, so talking about college life, I would say I can only say a little since like it's only been 10 days I've been in college, but
Mm-hmm.
I right now am focusing in communication studies since I am personally I would actually like to be working in social media, writing,
Yeah.
and maybe being like a simple social media analyst or a creative writing director, just like that. And I think communication can help me to build up things that I would actually rely on or things that I would actually like to be in the future. So that's why I chose communication studies. Otherwise, there's nothing to talk about in college since I'm actually still in a holiday right now. I haven't actually entered class, which is something unique.
And when is the class going to begin or commence?
So my class will start next week on Monday, on
Mhm.
the 2nd of September. So I still have some time to chill, some time to just hibernate before everything happened.
Yeah, and it will be fully in-person classes or programs,
Yeah,
right?
it's full in person. Mm.
Interesting. All right. And then, what kind of subjects or topics that you would like to focus on in the long run or in the future? What do you think will be very crucial for Indonesian young people or the next generation? or young people like you to focus on or to work on, be it, for example, the improvement of Indonesian Human Development Index, or the climate change, of course, because we are on the equator line, which is very, very, very sensitive towards the issue of climate change, because it has impacted a lot of the lives of millions of Indonesians from the west to the east, from Sabang to Merauke. So, what kind of subjects or issues you would like to focus on very specifically in the future for your
So there are three for Indonesian, like not talking for myself, for Indonesia, that I would actually like to focus on and find solutions for it. There are three problems, and that is climate change, because Indonesia is the number one archipelago country or chained
yeah.
island. So I think we have a lot of floras, we have a lot of faunas, and we need to protect it. And right now, the climate isn't doing well. Like, I would actually say the climate isn't doing well. So when youth can actually focus about it, I think it's a really good thing. The second of it is kind of sensitive to talk about it, but poverty, since poverty is really occurring. The poverty problems in Indonesia is, I would say, really bad, in my opinion, in my glasses and in my point of view. So, talking about it, I would actually really like for youth to focus more about it, not only about the economical side, but the educational side, how poverty can actually affect children's education, how poverty can affect the people's mindset, just like that. And then the third one is human rights, because talking about human rights, not everyone can get it. And we realize that Indonesia has a lot of cultures, have a lot of indigenous people from each part of the island. And I think in some places, indigenous people or their cultures wasn't actually having the rights that they need. So I
Yeah.
think talking about human rights, like everyone is human, regardless of their religion, regardless of their culture or their gender. I think that everyone should get the right that they need as a human itself.
Interesting. So you are daring yourself to touch on some sensitive issues like human rights. But what about politics and democracy in our country or in the region, or how you can actually connect, the young people from Indonesia with the young people in Malaysia, with the young people in Singapore or the Philippines? Like, do you have any ideas how you can connect these uh, aspiring and inspiring young people like you? Do you have um, thoughts or dreams for that goal?
So for me, myself, I would say in political stuff like talking or networking with other countries in Southeast Asia is actually really important, because we realize that if we solve our problem alone, we can't actually get the maximum solution for it. So I think that talking to another country that probably is like occurring the same problem, or even if they have a solution, we need to talk about it, because we need to see from different views, from different glasses of each places. And I think it's a really important thing to talk politically as well, not only to talk just for ourselves, just to speak up. We also need to talk, and we also need to inspire. We also need to network with other places to get more attention, to also get more, I would say, views, and also to get more support. Because if we stand alone, it's going to be hard, but if we stand together, it's going to be easy to solve one problem.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I agree with you completely. So when you are having your friends joining you, or you have a group of young people or to work together on certain, then you can probably solve the problems or any
Mm.
critical situation a lot easier and a lot faster. And now we would like to know more about your dream, not only for yourself but also for Indonesia, especially the Indonesian young people. What do you hope from? Do you have any dreams, hopes, or expectations from the future of um, Indonesian generation? Like, do you do
Mm,
you do you want them, or or not only Indonesia but also the young generation in Southeast Asia? Do you want active, proactive, or to find solutions and solve the problem along with the governments or the uh, media or with other activists?
I think that I want to say, or I want, or I hope for my own generation is to think more critically,
Mm,
because I realize that if we talk about speak up, I mean, everyone has their social media right now.
mm,
And I realize when there is a problem in Indonesia, most of us can actually speak up about it, but not all of us can critically think about it, because spreading awareness and speaking up is one thing that's good. But if you can think critically about that problem, it's one thing that's going to help it level up to maybe be a solution. I
mm.
realize that everyone has their own social media, and I realize how everyone is actually already speaking up in each and every problem. Do you know those like reposting trends in Indonesia?
Yeah,
Like add yours pictures.
yeah.
And that's one thing that I actually am very grateful about. Wow, everyone can speak up this easy right now. Like if you're citing in probably citing in one site in Indonesia, like you can just repost the posting, or you can just like click the add yours button, and you'll be concluded as speaking up and being in that site. But not everyone can talk about it in what I say critically
Mm,
about it,
yeah.
because having a critical opinion can also change people's minds, and having a critical opinion can also be debated. Like, I think having a debate in one problem can actually conclude to one solution. So I hope that youth in every single part of the world can actually think critically. And for myself as well, I hope I can think much, much more critically than I am right now.
Hmm. Interesting. So, wow, that's very, very brilliant ideas and sort of points of view, I would say. So, at the moment, after attending so many different forum conferences in other countries, do you still have at the moment like any programs or activities or say competition international wise or national wise in Indonesia or regional wise in Southeast Asia that you would like to join, and tell us why, or what about that program that you would like to join?
So I would actually like to join for now. For competition wise, is actually essays and scientific paper competitions, because by doing that I could actually do some research and also like read for myself, because I'm at this time I'm like kind of bored of reading novels and also alternate universe, if you know. So
Yeah.
like by joining an essay and scientific paper competitions, I could help myself to read more and also to know um, the world's problems. And actually, there are a lot of competitions in climate change, which I am so interested about and going to join in like probably in this semester. But for events, in lots of events, I've actually not yet found one event that I actually match with myself, because I'm also a new student after orientation, a new colleague student. So like, I think it's kind of hard to actually join an event, but a competition would be an easier way for me. And also, for other than that, I would actually like to write a movie for my own book. So yeah, that's what I've been focusing about this probably like, yeah, 4 months, 5 months.
Interesting. All right. So I think we've got some questions from the audience. I think I could say that most of the audience are at the moment this afternoon that we've got a lot of people from Indonesia. So and most of them, they're asking like um, how did you learn or where did you learn your English? Like, is there any special recipe or special secret that you would share with the Indonesian young people here that they can follow so that they can practice and improve their English? And and I believe you also think the same thing I do. Like, English is one of the many skills that we should have um, as a younger generation, or as um, as young people, to proudly solve and to build the future of our country, not only our country but also other countries in the region in Southeast Asia, or to get more involved in the probably geopolitical issues and activities in the global stage. So, how do you have any recipes or secrets that you would share with your audience this afternoon?
Okay. So I would say the one thing that actually helped me was I went to a school where we study three languages, so that's where I get my English. I studied English, Indonesian, and Mandarin at the same period of time when I
Yeah.
was, I would say, pre-kindergarten until I was in sixth grade. And that's why I would say that's where I got my accent. But actually, I got a secret recipe, like for parents, actually. This is for parents that's going to have a children and want their children to actually speak English well, is speaking to them in two languages.
Mhm.
Because that's what my family did to me. Like, in some points, my mom would talk to me in Indonesian, but in some points, like, different personals of my family would talk to me in English. And my mom always showed me also Indonesian movies or TV shows, like in a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Like probably in Monday to Wednesday, my mom would actually turn on to me a Indonesian movie, but like in Thursday till Sunday, my mom would turn on to me two English movies. So that's where I get realized to English. And also because I went to public high school for my
Yeah.
secondary and for my high school period.
Yeah.
And how I maintained my English in secondary, I would actually listen to a lot of English songs and also watch a lot of movies, but I would recommend to you guys watching Harry Potter or like Charlie Chocolate Factory because their English are so clear and their English are so, I would say, studyable. How do you say that?
Mhm.
Like their English are so clear and they don't have like a lot of new trend of a word. So I think that's where how to study English or like the recipe that's going to make it easier. And when I was in high school, just try to join a lot of international events that are fully funded because they would invite you and they would introduce you to other people that are also studying English. So you can study English with each other because the point or the recipe on studying English is through conversations. Because through conversations, people might say something that you won't understand and you would research about it so you won't be embarrassed on your next conversation. So I think if you're still a beginner, you can start with movies and like songs. But when you want to like advance or like you want to level up your English skills, I would say through conversation, it would help you a lot.
Mhm. Mhm. So, like, having this kind of conversation or having this dialogue, online dialogue, will help you sort of jog the memories, or um, improve the sort of how to say that, the vocabulary bank. Like, so you try to enrich yourself by trying to
Mm.
what kind of words that you would say, what kind of vocabulary that you would use, right?
Mm, right.
That's interesting. And also, you are also highlighting the importance of the parent by sort of giving the opportunities, the,
Sure.
uh, the facilitate the children
Mm, yeah.
kind of learn and improve their home, right? By watching movies, by probably listening to music, by probably reading some art or
Mm.
books. Interesting. So I think we got some more questions. Let's find out. So many questions this afternoon. Uh, so um, hold on one second. Right, let me roll up. All right. So like after attending so many events and conferences, um, are you now into doing your personal projects? And would share what projects that you are currently doing, and how important it is for you and your future to finish this project.
Okay, so the project that I'm working on is actually about a book, and it's really important in my life because I really want to become a writer and also work in the movie or filmmaking industry. So writing is really important to me. And the project is going to be the next chapter of my book. And it's really important for children and also parents to read it. And also, not only that, the next chapter of my book, I'm also working on the projects for my online book because I'm writing with my friend. And I think it's really important for me to build up my social media account for my writing account and
Yeah.
also to help my friends because my friend actually wants to become a writer but is confused where to start. So by doing that, I could actually also help my friends. So that's the project that I'm actually working on right now. Other than that, probably just working on some essays and some journals with my mom. Since my mom is a lecturer, not on
Mm.
my campus, but still, my mom is actually asking me, like, oh, let's write journals together. And I'm like, okay. So, yeah, that's probably the projects that I'm doing right now.
Interesting. And so you mentioned about having another friend write the book with you. So are you telling me that it will be co-written, or are you going to partner or collaborate with your friend to write the book?
It's more of collaborating since I'm
Mhm.
going to write the point of view from women's point of view, and he's going to write from the men's point of view.
Ah, all right, interesting. So, okay, your friend is a guy. All right, so you will be like will be sort of providing the readers with two different points of view
Mm,
from the woman's point of view and the point of view, right? In that
mm.
book. Interesting. And would you spill out a little bit like what the book will be about? Right? I mean, like, of course, um, it will be two different points of view, gender wise, but what the book is specifically all about.
So the book specifically tells us about how insecurity can occur to people. Since, like in Gen Z, in my generation, insecurity is one big problem of us. In social media, in real life, I think insecure is a really common word. So by writing this book, I could share awareness of how how to not be insecure because being insecure is normal.
Mm,
But
mhm,
swimming swimming through insecure every single day is not good.
mhm,
So by writing this, I could help people to hopefully help people to actually realize how we can go out from the word insecure to be secure and changing our own lives. Just like that. That's probably a thing that I would say, but we are going to say it in like a more simple and a more relaxed way and a more romantic way because like
Mm-hmm.
realizing that we actually love to read novel or romance novels, like myself too. So I feel like bringing it out to a concept where we have two POVs is kind of a good idea. So people can see from different perspectives. So like they not only think for themselves, but they're going to think for other people as well.
Interesting. And another question: if you were given an offer or opportunity, I would say in the next few months or a few weeks, to join another international conference, for example, in Europe or in the United States, on any, there is no specific issues, but would you join that program, and why do you think you would join that program right away? And how do you think it will change your life?
Yes, totally. Yes, I hope by saying this, I would say anyone, if you are going to gladly give me an invitation to an international conference, I would be there. Okay, just speak not only me speaking for experiences, like everyone can get experience in every single event, but
Yeah.
I would say it's more of like learning new perspective also, because not knowing the concept itself and like, oh, I'm going to invite you to an international event, but I don't think you focus on that. Are you gladly to join in? And I was like, oh, I would actually gladly and happily to be joined inside there because I really want to know different problems in different SDGs because I feel like also international conference will also or international events will also look through SDGs and those problems. So by joining it, I can actually learn a new part or a new number of SDGs. So that's what I'm really interested about. Yeah.
Interesting. All right, that's very good to know. All right, now let's go back to the point where you mentioned about the roles of the parents. So, after attending all of these international programs and conferences, um, how did your parents react, or did they support you to join those conferences, or did you have to ensure them, oh, this will be good for me, this will be good for and I believe I can benefit a lot from these programs and events, and please allow me to go, please let me go? Or has there been any experiences when your parents said, no, Vanya, you cannot go because this is too far, this will be, it will be too costly, it will be, I don't think it will be good for you? So has there been any experiences like that when you're trying to join international conferences?
Um, I would say if we were talking about international conference, my mom would support, and my parents would support 100%. But because I'm the only child, my parents will be super protective,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I would say. Because even though they are super supportive in that, and I'm going to meet new people, I'm going to do networking, I'm going to negotiate in those events, but still, my mom and dad would actually text me every hour just to know how I am and ask for pictures. And it's a good thing. I mean, like, oh, my parents would care about these, but sometimes it's going to get tiring even
Yeah,
if my battery reach like 5% and I need to like not let my battery die because I don't know where to go after it.
yeah.
So that's my experience with my parents. My parents are totally fine, 100% okay, but they can get super strict and they can get super protective when I'm going to international events.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's very interesting. So it's always good to have very supportive parents, right? When you are having a lot of dreams, a lot of goals and objectives in your life, and you would want to have people by people who back to support you, to say yes, just do it, go for it. So I think it's very important. I think you are sending very clear messages to not only Indonesian parents but also all the parents in the region in Southeast Asia. Just support your children, go after their dreams,
Mm.
uh, run after their sort of life goal, and and have it while they can, right? Uh, because, well, I mean, though we know that opportunities will always come, but certain opportunities only twice or once, right?
Mm.
So,
True.
uh, so I think it's very important message that you are sharing with a lot, especially parents, to support the kids, the children, uh, that I think it's very important to see your children happy, running after their dreams, and when they get it, like I believe in, and I'm not sure, but this is just my personal observation. When you were, I'm sure you're very very exhausted when you were in Dubai, running conference, running after these meetings, these events, these talks, these interviews, but I think it was very life changing for you, correct?
Mm, correct. It's very life changing for me.
Yeah. So so that kind of opportunities did not probably twice, or say it might come again, but we don't know.
Mm.
So glad that you were a part of that international conference, and then you were one of the select few of the global um, lead of the young people or the students attending that conference, and coming all the way from Brazil, from Madagascar, from Canada, from Australia, and you're only like one of young people at the time, or six young people. And so, and last but not least, this is the last question. After meeting so many people in that conferences and events, how do you actually maintain your communication or maintain your friendship with them? With the students or the young people that you met in those conferences. Would you share with us how your tricks, like how to get in touch with your friends?
Okay, before I actually answer that question, I just want to say I was so comfortable that I don't realize it's 3 minutes away through to 5 p.m. But anyways, how do I still connect with people that I met on my events is through social media, of course. But I feel like sometimes it's hard to maintain in social media. So I would gladly and I would be very happy when people connect me more through iMessage, since like iMessage is a really common thing when you met people in the US.
Yeah.
And my friend, when I was in South Korea, my best friend was from the US, so we talked a lot in iMessage. And then from the other, I would actually, when I was in South Korea with Korean people, I would connect them through Kakao Talk. And then with when I was in Japan, I would say I connect them more through Line, if I can remember, through Line, because most of them don't have Instagram. And then for others, I would actually connect them easier from WhatsApp. So yeah, that's how you connect. Because like sometimes if we connect only from social media, it's going to be very hard
Yeah.
or just
Yeah.
very hard to maintain their life. But if you're talking through like talking apps, it would be much more easier.
Interesting. Wow. Vanya, it has been a very inspiring afternoon having you in our event, Viewpoint, Seasia Academy Viewpoint. We are inviting speakers, people just like you from different countries in Southeast Asia and beyond. Like last month, we had two beautiful ladies from India talking about cultural diplomacy and cultural partnership in India. And month we have you, and perhaps hopefully we would love to have you again in the near future in the next episode of Seasia Viewpoint, talking about different stuff, or probably you're going live from one of the international events that you'll be attending in the future, be it in Europe, in the US, in Canada, that you would join. Just tag us, and then we'll be very happy to have you in our live Instagram event like this, and then you share live how it feels like to be in the US, how it feels like to be in, for example, in Germany, attending these meetings, meeting different people from different schools, different universities, and sharing ideas and building ideas and projects, you know, and then things that you can share with people back home, not only in Indonesia, but also other countries in Southeast Asia. Again, Vania, thank you so much for joining me
Thank
this
you.
afternoon, all the way in Surabaya. And again, everyone, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon in this Seasia Academy Viewpoint. And I'm Muhammad Reza. I thank you, and hopefully we'll see you again next month. Take care, and
Bye. Thank you, Kak Reza.
bye.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah, so I think it's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity. I think a lot of people have been asking about my Instagram. I just deactivated my Instagram,
Oh,
so
really?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I just sort of I deactivated my Instagram, so I haven't been very active on Instagram lately. So yeah, so this is I'm using the of course the Academy Instagram, so you can connect with me in here. But again, Fanny, I think let's get in touch for a future opportunity.
Of
Was
course.
trying to mention earlier, but hopefully you can join. But we'll. All right, so take care and say hi to your family back home.
Okay, thank you so much, Kak
Uh,
Reza. I'm going to leave.
yeah,
Bye.
bye. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we'll see you next month in the next CAC Academy Viewpoint edition in September. So stay tuned and have a good evening wherever you are. Bye bye.